Like, it's
Daddy, why is there a TV series made about your football team and everyone seems to be crying? Why is that?
We have one as well, innit? And they took the piss out of us because we wanted to play Never Walk Alone and training.
Well, not leaks, but like assumptions, and people have drawn some conclusions to some things that have been posted, and then so a couple of people jumped in my stream the other day and they were like, "Oh, have you seen this about FM26 coming out in March?" And I'm like, "No, it's not."
Like, we've spoken about this before. Like, a lot of what real foot managers do is about managing personal relationships. I don't want to spend my game asking Miles Lewis Skelly what he ate for tea, do I? Like, hey, how's your girlfriend?
But that's what a manager would do.
Were you plastering your wall at the weekend? Are you a multi-club fan, Aaron?
Oh yeah, big time. I'm bad at it.
Like, you have Arsenal.
I'll scout a player that I like, and because I like him so much, I just become a fan. I become a fan of the team.
So, like, what's your Spanish team?
Real Madrid.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the FM show. I am of course your host Tony Jameson, joined as always by the one and only RDF Tactics aka Aaron Falloon and the one and only Si Maggio. Fellas, how are we? Welcome to the show. Si, I'm glad you managed to keep your hand gestures to yourself properly this week.
Actually, that one was worse. That was my right arm going up in the air. I think I made a mistake on that one.
This one done something. I don't know what this one was thinking.
I saw Aaron do like a little slip. He did like a little wave off of his things.
I always do it. Canoe, innit?
For the audio listeners, I might have accidentally gone a bit Elon Musk with that one. I think it was off camera, so it was okay. The arm was bent. It's all right. We're safe.
Yes. I tried to help you out there because last week you were doing signals for what we believe was the Polish army, which was lovely. And then today I was convinced the angle was different size. So let's move on. Let's move on for what we're doing now. I'm not suggesting that you've been doing giving it big elons at the top of the show. Aaron, how are you, mate? You're not going to cause any offence to anybody, are you?
Well, I've been playing Football Manager again, people. I've been playing Football Manager and they really need to dumb that game down.
Not content with riling people up last week about the Europa League and the Champions League spots. We've got a little bit of something because we've been in the group chat this week trying to work out what to talk about on the show, and that topic has come up, and we're going to talk about that as we go through. So yeah, Aaron's just like throwing them up and like slugging them, going, right, come on, let's just see where we're going to go with that one. Si, you've got your head in your hands already.
Now, see, this is the interesting thing. When I first broached the idea in the group chat, I thought Aaron was going to go the other way. And I have a bad feeling we're going to be in a little bit of universal agreement, but not with some viewers or listeners. And we're going to annoy some people, which is a bit of a shame. Because obviously this is a podcast about Football Manager. So we naturally attract a certain kind of person who is very engaged in the game. Rather than the kind of person who might not know that they like the game or might not have picked it up yet or only just picked it up. They're not going to be seeking out a podcast for the game. So I think that's like, okay, right, we're encroaching the territory where we might upset a load of people again.
Look, it's not going to be upsetting. It's not going to be upsetting, but we do have to discuss a few things, right? And we talked a lot about real life football. No. I'm going to set the scene here, right? We talked about real life football over the last couple of weeks. We had the episode with Jim on there. We talked about real life football. Last week, we talked a lot about, the European competitions. It will be very easy for me to start coming on here and start talking about the fact that I was at the playoff semi-final second leg at Sunderland on Tuesday and just talk about that for the entire show. But I'm not allowed to, because again, that would upset some people. But my word, what a night that was! I
have some suggestions for playoffs and relegation, but we'll come to it later if you like. We'll save it.
Of course,
absolutely. Much like last week, I want to change playoff promotions and relegations, but it's a little bit real world football for now. So.
Yeah. So we've got to touch on some stuff. We'll sort of like tread into some little camps, then we'll come back out again. But yeah, no, playoffs is definitely something we can talk about. Real life football. I mean, you know what? Sampdoria are relegated. Very sad.
I see people
very,
talking
very
about
sad.
their FM 20 question mark save.
Well, yeah, everyone's going, there's my FM 26 save. Yeah, good luck for that one. We don't know. There's messages going around online about, potential leaks to March, and we know there's no leaks to any dates or anything.
I actually haven't seen anying about this, really.
Well, not leaks, but like assumptions, and people have drawn some conclusions to some things that have been posted, and then so a couple of people jumped to my stream the other day, and they were like, "Oh, have you seen this about FM26 coming out in March?" And I'm like, "No, it's not. Like, just it isn't. No one knows."
I woke up and it was like one of the first things I saw. So I saw this post, right? I think it was FM Console that did it. And it's again the Sega business, whatever they published. And then I saw like announcing of the new Football Manager title. Obviously, there's no date, so there's no official title as FM 26 or 7. It just said the new Football Manager title. But in brackets, it's got like some weird code where it's like FY 2026-03. So in my head, I'm like, that, oh my God, it's coming out in March. People get prepared. And I looked at the calendar, I was like, wait, that is miles away. Holy.
Yeah,
but yeah, I did come to that conclusion myself when looking at it. It's only when I started reading people's comments under the tweet or whatever, and people quote tweeting it, that's when I was like, oh, okay, I got a bit too ahead of myself there.
Wait, I know exactly what it means. It means financial year.
Exactly.
It means something, innit? So I got that right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's to do with the financial year that something will happen with regards to, well, basically, essentially, how I understand it and how I'm interpreting it is that Sega saying that they're not pulling the plug, like they're still working with their side. Like, as far as they're concerned, that agreement still continues. But some people,
that's just the end of that's just the end of the financial year, right?
March, so then it's got to come up before that, right?
Well, yeah, it does. So it'll be out probably at the normal time, right?
Hey, we're back to our detective work. Let's go.
Look, again, just for any avoidance of doubt, we do not know, right? This is all speculative, okay? And it's it's almost getting into that season. We mentioned it on the podcast last week, I think, that we are getting to a little bit of like people are starting to get a bit itchy again because it is the end of the season, and, you know, people are starting to look for more things. You know, they're desperately trying to get stuff. So things like this, when stuff does come out and console goes off investigating like he tends to do, you know, it can get people's excitement levels rising. So do take everything at the minute with a pinch of salt, because no one really knows right now.
I would quite like it to be like for them to release some information soon. Like, I know they wouldn't normally until September, but I feel like just for the goodwill of the community, like GTA, when they announced their delay the other week, like 2 days later, they put out a trailer which included some gameplay, even though they've delayed it until 2026. And if anything, the fact that GTA isn't now coming out gives a look like for a video game market, that's a big thing. Like, that's something a lot of games were planning their release in and are like trying to avoid. Hey, don't release GTA weekend. I don't know how much that would affect Football Manager, but I'm sure it would.
I mean, the thing with something like GTA, and maybe I'm wrong, okay, and if there's loads of game developers who are watching this show right now are about to call me out and say, no, Tony, you've got this absolutely wrong. That's not gameplay footage that GTA have released as the trailer. It's literally a deliberately designed trailer that is not the gameplay. So I guess in a sense, Football Manager could make an advert. Just an advert.
It's in-game footage, so it's
not really, though, is it? Let's be honest. They always have that as like the little caveat of like, you know, but it's not in-game footage. It's part of the cinematic, you know, production.
I think as opposed to being pre-rendered.
Yes,
is the point.
Yeah, but it's not like sort of lifted straight out of the game, you know. So yeah. So I'm just thinking, look.
No, that's what in-game footage means. That is lifted straight out of the game. It might be cutscene, but it is lifted.
Cutscene. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's not literally the actual walking around doing the mission. It's maybe a cutscene.
It's not showing gameplay. You're right.
So that could have been made 3 years ago. That's not going to change. Like, you know, whereas Sports Interactive couldn't show match engine footage because that could be subject to change. That's kind of
they could show us some animations, maybe.
Oh God, we're getting into this already, aren't we?
I was sad with this. I don't care if I actually see the match. I don't know.
Show us a wireframe animation if you have to.
Yeah, like something. I need to see. I need to see video again, not screenshots. And then with the little tag at the bottom right, work in progress. I need to see motion.
here's where I'm going to go then, right? Aaron, you've mentioned this, okay? Football Manager needs to be dumbed down, okay? Because I suggested this as part of this was one of my rants on stream during the week. I'm going to now argue that we don't need to see a video, right? We don't need to see a video of the new FM because we just don't need to. Like, things need to start taking stuff out. It's too complicated now, and they need to. For me, I think we need to
because I think what happened last title sort of proved me right with with there being no actual footage. It gets me worried and thinking, okay, is there actually a game sort of thing? And again, I don't know. I don't think we need to. I think it will just be hugely appreciated, especially after what a lot of, I say what we've been through, like it was the end of the world, but you get what I mean? Like, with FM25 being cancelled, I think this showing us something, doing something out of the box, showing us that, like, okay, we hear you, we know we're disappointed, but so here's a little something special. I think that would be hugely appreciated. Rather than just going back to business as normal and, no, we do this and we do this structure and we're just going to stick with this. I think a lot of people will appreciate if they just went above and beyond with things. Again, they don't have to. It will just be something that would be appreciated. I'm not sure if it's going to affect sales. Yeah. It will be more of a loss from their pocket, if anything, but...
Maybe some, even if it's just information, maybe, there might be a new thing. Women's football, we know they're adding to the game. Like, hey, why don't you let us know what leagues are in the game?
Or confirm it, because they surely must know by now, is international football back or not? Because it sort of has to be with with the competition coming around the corner. So,
okay,
yeah, US
that's
World
fair.
Cup.
That's fair.
So, is the stuff that wasn't initially in FM25, and you said it's going to be added on as we go, is that stuff going to be at the beginning? And that's just, I don't know. But maybe they don't know yet, but
that's the thing. Are they potentially concerned that whatever they do say, there's going to be some people who are going to take whatever they say and say, well, look, you've had 18 months to do more, which is they're always going to run the risk of that regardless of what happens, whether there's a delay, a cancellation or what. There's always going to be a group of people who go, you've had this amount of time to make this game and you haven't done what I want the game to be. Yeah. They've obviously now got an extended period of time to produce the game. So expectations have maybe raised again, to go like, right, okay, you've had more time to make this. As Aaron's just saying there, you've now had time to put things in you were going to take out of 25. We don't know what the thinking is as to whether they're looking to tweak what would have been, we'll call it Project 25 or something. Are they tweaking 25 to 26? And again, we're going to use guesstimate titles. Is 26 essentially 25.1 or is it 25 done properly? I don't know. I mean, ultimately, there's going to be some people are going to be happy and there's going to be some people are going to be disappointed, regardless of what happens.
I think from the messaging we had back in March, there was that there were things that were finished, and there were things that weren't working. And I can't remember which way around it was, but I think a lot of people were saying, and I don't want to speak in case I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that people were saying, oh, the match engine. I'm pretty sure they said something about the match engine being ready, and it was more actually the other stuff that wasn't. Which makes me think they could now take the match engine and they can work on that. That the work on that doesn't stop while they're doing the other stuff, because they're almost set. They're not completely separate components to the game, but they it exists in its own little thing, and it feeds back the results to this, or it draws the information from this. But they don't have to communicate. I don't know. I don't feel like they have to communicate and I'm sure they communicate a lot, but it's it's not, the match engine is not reliant on the menu AI. Those are separate things, for example, or the match engine is not reliant on the transfer negotiation AI. Like whatever thing is like holding them back, like they can still progress and work on the other thing. Like all the scouting work, like it's not going to be like, hey, you've got last year's data. No, of course we're going to get this year's data. I actually feel bad for all the people. I want to know if wouldn't it be good if they added in the FM25 database into FM26? So you could start with 2025 or you could start with 2026. And it could be like, hey, you've got, who would be a player who would like looked really good a year ago but looks trash now? There'll be someone, right? Aaron's not talking. Yeah. Probably like anyone in the Southampton team, right? So any of the so like any of the Southampton defenders or any of the Southampton players or Aaron Ramsdale or like Aaron Ramsdale probably had quite high stock this time last year, but this year he's like dropped right off. So you can imagine.
Nah, he's still worth about 80 mil. Something like that.
He's trying to sell him now. Would anyone like to buy him?
Yeah, his value's still high.
Chelsea probably need a goalkeeper, so there you go. So I think that's a case of that would be pretty cool if they were like, because it is just like when you load up the game now, it's just choose which database iteration. I wonder whether they could just do that. Like it would have a different start date, wouldn't it? Or if they've got real world transfer. Sorry, I'm like spitballing here now. Mm-hmm. They've got real world transfer mode where the real world transfers happen.
Yeah.
But only during the first window. Could you imagine now if it was the first year? They did a year of it. You had a real world transfer for a year, and you can do your own transfers. You can mess with it a little bit, but otherwise, it's like, hey, those transfers will happen when they're going to happen.
I love the idea of it, but that sounds like more things to go wrong. Like, it's a bit like buying a car. It's like, part of me, the analogy I was going to make with buying a car was in relation to all the other bits and bobs you're talking about. Anyway, like the match engine is one part of the car, the transfer model is part of another part of the car. Like ultimately, putting it all together, the chassis is the actual game engine, and it all clunks together to build the vehicle. Like, it's a bit like this in there about adding this extra sort of like long-term real life transfer window in. The more gadgets you put in a car, the more things that go wrong with it. Like, gone are the days when you just buy a car and it's got like a radio and that's it. And like, now it's got like a radio and it's got like satellite navigation and it's got like air conditioning and it's just like, someone's gone wrong. What's gone wrong? Don't know, but the car's going to tell me, and it goes off for 3 months now.
You got to get a USB, you got to plug it in your laptop. I don't have a laptop.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I'm thinking about, I like the idea of a new start date. I mean, that is like, in a sense, is that like SI going, we know we fucked up, so you can play it back in the day of like, when it would have been 2025. You can now play the 2026 version. I don't know if they'll do that or not. But I do think the thing I've been thinking about the most is game modes. And I know it's not going to come in 26, but I really think that they need to start looking at game modes.
Well, I mean, what game modes would you like?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my thinking, right? Okay, and this came out as part of a conversation on stream the other day, right? Because someone was asking me, like, like what do new people see when they look at Football Manager? Okay, mm-hmm. And I was trying to say, well, look, as someone who's brand new, whether it's an older person or a younger person, I think Big Robo mentioned this when he was on the show a few weeks ago. A younger person looking at Football Manager, it doesn't look appealing. Right, okay, it doesn't look appealing. It's just a bunch of numbers and a bunch of names on a screen. There's lots of data in there that we know does or doesn't really have any effect on what goes on. You can play the game without any of that information. You can play the game with all that information. Aaron, you know that some of that information isn't even correct on how it calculates it. So therefore that information could potentially be misleading. I just think that looking at how a Football Manager would be in the real world, okay, if we're trying to say this is a simulation of real life football, okay, I think we've got so much in the game now as we have in football. There's a lot of information. Not all of it is useful. It's filtering through what's useful and what's not. And I just think a manager's responsibilities are now becoming more and more diminished. So my thought of a game mode is more along the lines of, you can be an actual football manager, head coach. I've always argued there should be a head coach mode where you don't even do the transfers. But I feel as though there should be a management mode where you're just the manager and you're not the one that's sifting through the data. You're not the one that's doing the training. You're not the one who's organising the friendlies. And I know you can delegate that in-game, but in real life, are you telling me, Aaron, that Arteta is sat with spreadsheets in his office going through data? Of course he's not. He's got his data analyst to do that. And his analyst brings it to him and goes, I think these players are decent because of these reasons. Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think, again, having that option, like you said, maybe a head coach option where, I don't know. So, because like I said, I've been playing Football Manager again, and obviously it's been a long time since I've really played Football Manager, and I've got that thing. I'm just like, straight away I played. So when I was playing it as a content creator, and obviously you're just playing it non-stop for so long, like your head's in it, you know how everything works and that sort of stuff. But when you have this long break, and I'm talking months, I haven't really played the game. Started playing the game now, and she's like, I just want to play Football Manager. Like, I just want to play a game. So I just want to do the tactics to play a game, but I just felt there was just so much in between. There was so much you must respond, which you respond, but it doesn't really have an effect on how the game was going to go anyway. So it's made you stop your sort of your progression to a match, but it's doing these things that are ineffective anyway. And I just think, it could just be so easy. For example, like, I don't know, it's just small things, right? So previously, like, I don't think there was a must respond for a captain, right? Did you have to pick a like on the old Football Managers, it used to be tactics, and then you have your own captain selection. Like, you can pick there wasn't a must respond, and I just think that should be the way. You pick Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes is the captain. I don't think you need a must respond message to say, hey, do you want to change your captain? Because 99.9% we are just pressing continue and leaving it.
And also as well, if you are going to change the captain, a logical time for that to happen would be when you take over the club. Like on day one, I'm coming as the manager, I'm changing the captain, or I'm keeping the captain. Not 3 or 4 weeks later once you've been around. It's literally about 4 days before the season starts, I think it is. Yeah. Before your first match or something like that. Yeah. And so you've had all that time to get your squad ready, and then you're about to upset them just before the season starts because you clicked the wrong button.
I just think there's just so much that sort of stuff, and it just feels
I don't think you would change it day one.
You would?
No, you wouldn't know the players. I mean, in real life, you wouldn't know the players.
Okay, so there's a good point then in real life, right? Okay, let's explore that bit as well. Because I've always said previously, a manager goes into a football club, they do not know all of those players straight away. So for my own personal perspective on this, do not shoot the messenger. People are already starting to type away in the comments there. I don't think you can play this game with attributes. Genuinely, I think you have to go back to
on your own team for the first few weeks.
But you should do because okay.
But even that, does anyone realistically change the captain? Does a coach come in and then 4 weeks later change the captain? That's not really a thing.
If they brought their own player,
it's just one of those things that. But I think there's just so many small things, just like that. Obviously, not the exact same, but it's just so small things like that in the game. I feel can just be a little simpler.
I'm thinking as well, like we've started the network
contract negotiations, sorry to cut you off, even that, I just want to sign this player quickly, and I didn't realize there was so much like suggest this, and like it was just so long, there's just so many options there as well. And again, most of the times we don't even change that sort of thing, and it's like, make sure I'm vice captain, like that sort of thing. I don't think should be. I think it's a great idea, great suggestion. It is real life sort of simulation, but again, I just think it's too much. I just think it's too much for something that has little effect.
But even then, is the manager sat in on the contract negotiations? Like in real world football? Like, Aaron, I don't know whether you know 100% or not, but you've probably got the most knowledge of this than many of us have. But is a manager sat in on contract negotiations?
I mean, it depends. I don't think he would be the one negotiating, but he might be in attendance, especially if it's a player that he's wanted as well. So he might be in attendance, but
maybe you could.
And again, he might be able to give a promise like, "This is your role. This is," because that could back that. Regardless, that should come from. I'm guessing that would come from a manager. Like, this is the role that I would have him in my team, sort of thing. And maybe not. Sometimes clearly, like at Chelsea or something. Clearly, no, that's clearly wasn't the routine. But I'm guessing, yeah. If there's a player that if a manager went to the director that I really want this forward, and it got to that negotiation part, there is probably a chance that the manager wants to see him in the negotiations. But I can't imagine him being like, "Nah, you're getting 42 grand."
How about you see where they have, and Si, I'll bring you in a second on this one. See how you can add, delegate transfers to director of football, for example. Yeah.
Yeah.
Default, it's set that you are doing your transfers. And I know that everyone loves doing transfers because that's part of Football Manager, and it has been since day one, right? It's the bit that people enjoy. Would there be any merit in having it the other way around for default, where the club takes over the contract negotiations unless you want to get involved and you override? So you watch this sort of transfer negotiation playing out and these wages. Using your example there, Aaron, that maybe there's a manager who's desperate to get a player involved, right? You might have the manager sitting there going, right, do you know what? I'm coming in now. I can see this isn't really working. I'm going to make you the promise that I'm going to make you a first team player. I'm going to, make you the promise that you can be the captain and do that. And then that can be your sort of final little say on the transfers.
So with the transfers, specifically with the transfers, I think I would keep it, you being able to negotiate, because I just think that's what drives people into making transfers. But I'm just thinking, like, if I play the old Football Manager, when my bid gets accepted, it just doesn't feel like there's just so much to it. I just offer him the contract. Hey, he's requested 47 grand, blah, 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 blah. And just that. And then that's it, sort of thing. But now it just feels like there's just so much. There's just so many options there. He wants vice captain. He wants to be taking penalties and that sort of thing. I just don't think that needs to be in there. It's a great idea. It's only when you start trying to play the game continuously, I think that's when it starts to feel a bit draggy and a bit pointless as well. Like if there was big effects from it, then possibly, yeah. But then you can't say that with the contract negotiations, because then there also has to be a big effect with your team talks. There also has to be a big effect with everything that you're doing in the game, which is just going to be, in the end, it will just be too much. It'll be a bit ridiculous.
Because the contracts do have an impact.
Do they really, though?
Yeah, definitely.
Honestly, if I make you upset with my contract, so if I give you vice captain and penalties and I don't give you that, I guarantee you it doesn't affect your performance. I guarantee you, if you're a striker and I got you an advanced forward, you're still scoring.
It affects their training, right? It affects their training performance.
I
think they don't. I think if they're unhappy, they don't train as well.
But this is what I mean, though. Like, then what effect is that actually having in the game?
Well, they don't develop as well.
But they're still scoring the. I don't think it's.
Yeah, but you could be.
I don't think it's that deep.
Goals.
Honestly, I don't think it's that deep. You're talking about it affecting their training performance. I don't think it affects their training performance when they're not developing, because they're still playing games.
So
and game time is the biggest way of developing. It's not your training; it's your game time. So if I'm playing
player happiness doesn't make a difference.
Not necessarily. Not. I mean, if your whole team's in the gutter and you're obviously losing games, I think you feel the effects there. But if a player's unhappy, he just performs still. Like there's no great effect.
I don't know if they do if they're unhappy.
I'm literally playing tactic tests now. Like, it just happens. I do tactic tests just going on holiday. People go on holiday ignoring half your squad's unhappy, but still be able to do unbeaten seasons.
Yeah, that's because your assistant managers like dealing with half the stuff.
Yeah, but your half the squad is unhappy though. You get to the end of the season, half your squad's unhappy. They also need they're fatigued as well. That's another one that I don't feel that there's literally a
they leave
massive
the club. They
difference
don't sign a new contract if they're unhappy. That's another thing that'll happen. You'd lose a player on a free.
Yeah, but I think what Aaron's saying is, they still go out on the pitch and they still.
It's like, there's no real
they act professional and they still go out on the pitch.
Well, you lose the player. He's like, hey, I'm not signing for you again. You lied to me. And then you lose him on a free transfer. It's happened to me too many times because they're like, why didn't you sign?
But you think that's a big enough effect of make someone unhappy, because that's just normal, like.
Just losing him on a free.
I think the question then becomes, and we're sort of again we're treading into this territory as well, is what do we want Football Manager to be, really? Like, and I think SI need to have that conversation as well. Do they want the game to be realistic? We've argued this so many times on the podcast that if they wanted it to be realistic, nobody would play it because nobody would win. Like, you can't take Tamworth to the Champions League because, you know what? Tamworth have never won a Champions League before. It's not realistic, right? You can be sat for playing 70 years in the National League. It's not a thing, right? Do you want the game to be realistic?
Everything a manager can do. You can't leave a shit in the urinals at Crystal Palace. You know, it's like
exactly. So this is my point though. Like, what do people want? Do they want the game to be quote unquote realistic? Because that's what people say they want, or do they want the game to be a phrase that I'm going to use, easy, so that they can win? And that is what I think people really want. They don't want it to be real life football.
I don't think I want it.
They want it to look a little bit like real life football.
More of how it was previously. If I'm totally honest with you,
which was what? What do you think?
So if we're taking it back to around what year are we? 2000. We're FM 24. I'm saying if we're talking about FM 14, FM 15, FM 16, the game was just. It was to us. It was still realistic. It just wasn't. There wasn't as many added things like squad dynamics and all that sort of stuff. But to us, the game was still pretty realistic.
Do you think the game's losing something then, Si, by the more things that are being added into it? Like Aaron's saying there.
Do you know when they first started
now
media,
it's in, you can't then take it back out.
Well, this gives them a good chance to reset stuff. So like press conferences. I remember when they first announced press conferences, because they used to, I don't remember what they used to be. It used to just be one question in an email, didn't it? And then, well, I think even when they added that, it was like revolutionary, and it was like, hey, we get to answer our questions in press conferences. Everyone thought it was going to be great. Everyone hated it after like 3 weeks because they're bored of it. I don't want to stop asking me about.
But that is a job of a manager. That is literally the job of the manager. Buying players is not.
And we can do an Ange Postecoglou and just get annoyed at them all the time. Although we'd probably have been sacked if we were in his position by now. With the like press conferences, like what it's just annoying. They're not fun to play. It's hard to determine. Like I think we all press the the option furthest left, right? On almost everything. When you first go into a press conference, whenever you ask questions, furthest left option, or I think it's like if it's in the vertical listed, the option near the top or the second one down, they're almost always like the best option, because everything to the right, even when you're dealing with players and stuff, the left options. When you're dealing with the ball, the left options, because otherwise you get sacked, or you get a very annoying player, or you annoy everyone, and it's like. It's like the nuclear button, right? You just don't press it. Why do you even give me the option? Because it's never, ever, ever going to end well. Maybe once or twice.
I've got the perfect solution. An auto button. So if Football Manager, so you know how in like the mobile version, right, where you can press. What is it? Your squad personality, whatever it is. You got those options at the beginning of the game, and you can press. So if you had your own personality, whatever, maybe instead of sending your assistant, because I think that's what bugs people. Like that's why they don't want to skip the press conferences, because it sends the assistant, so it's someone else attending. But if they had an auto button, which just your personality is basically answering the questions, the game just answers the questions for you, and then just go about your business. Done. An auto button. You don't need to send the assistant. You don't need to do it. Just an auto button. The game will answer the questions for you.
That's just sending your assistant, though. I mean, but the
difference is your assistant is going. That's on record on the game. I think this is what bugs people. This is why people just attend the press conferences anyway, because.
So what I'd quite like with that then. So
it's basically a simulation. It's basically a press conference simulation. That's it. You're just simulating a press conference.
So when you send your assistant, people get angry because the assistant upsets your players and says the wrong thing.
Haaland is better. My flipping League 2 striker is better than Haaland.
What would be interesting there then is if you clicked auto, you went as the auto person, you as the manager went, upset all your bunch of players. You'd be sat there going, why has the computer upset all my players? Like that seems really unfair. Do you know what I mean? And then you'd be like, well, actually, you're going to have to start doing the press conferences now then, because you've clearly not, sending it on auto doesn't seem to work.
What if there was just one question and you get 3 options as an answer?
No, because I actually think that was the point.
It's quick. It's much
for me,
quicker.
press conferences is an easy one to bypass, because I don't care with my assistant going, so it's just easy for me to bypass. I don't even press the button. I've already got it in the options that the assistant is doing it anyway.
Shit.
So that's like one for me that's easily bypassed. But
I think it's got to be. We lost Tony. I think it's got to be the. I think it's got to be the fun things. Like if you get rid of press conferences.
I don't think you can.
But you keep. I mean, you don't have to get rid of them. I mean, this is why we have send assistant, right? Doesn't that just solve this issue?
But I think that's that's why people don't go. So even if you go to your actual manager profile and it's got like your media, your press conference attendance, and it's just like on the 0% bar.
Do you know what I think you should do? So when you first load up the game, you don't do press conferences, you don't do training or anything. Like you have your assistant and he chats to you at the start of the game. He's like, hey, I'm going to handle these things for you for a few weeks. Focus on these things, right? Like he's like the tutorial, right? So he's like, hey, I'm going to handle these things for you. You focus on the tactics and the teams, and maybe we need to sign in a few players. I'll handle this, and this. And then like maybe 5 weeks in or 2 months in, he's going to go, hey, do you fancy giving the press conference a go? And you can go, no, I don't. Like, you do that. It's boring. Or you can go, yeah, like, give me a go. You go do the press conference, and then afterwards he goes, do you want to do it? Do you want to keep doing it, or do you want me to keep doing it? And you say, or you say, I'll only do it for big games. Like, what if you just had the option of press conferences, but you only did it when it's like rivalry, cup final, like an important match league wise? I think that would be like a good time to actually.
It's not about that. I just think of the crap that assistant manager just says. It's just that's one thing.
If you didn't have to do a press conference every game, you just set like a general agenda for every game, and then, like you said, like an auto one. Then only get. Then when it does come to those big games, you need the press conference.
Then it gives you the option. Do you want to do this press conference? Yeah.
Hey, you're Liverpool. You're playing your rivals Real Madrid. Do you want to do a press conference?
Because I think then again, like, I think that's just obviously because we've mentioned this before, like how we wanted this feature of your obviously giving your manager like an actual person instead of numbers, or was it bars? It's numbers still, isn't it? So you get like numbers of attacking, yeah. And then you've got the motivator and that sort of stuff. You've just got the numbers but you might just want to pick a personality. You just might want to be a motivator, and that's it, rather than having numbers for your discipline and your tactical, whatever it is. Yeah, so if you could just press like a motivator and that sort of stuff, then guessing the game could just automatically answer the most motivating replies to the questions.
Tony, we fixed it already.
Yeah,
we lost you for a minute, but we fixed it in your absence. So
perfect.
It's all good. The game works now.
I think I delegated my internet connection to you too, so that's perfect.
Yeah. Basically, the solution we've come to is you stop doing press conferences except for big games.
So it basically will ask you, as the big game is asking, it will approach you if you would like to take the press conference yourself. Because
can I be controversial?
Sorry. Yeah, go on.
I don't think that's the bit we need taken out. Like I
wouldn't be taken out. It would be more so adjusting. So as like we're saying, just getting rid of you having to press your send assistant, or you having to do it every game.
I think what they need to do is, I think they need to make I know, and I can already hear Miles's voice when I'm saying this. I'm trying to say make press conferences more interesting. You can't, because press conferences are dull. That's the very nature of them, right? But I feel that a press conference is more a manager's responsibility than so much other stuff that is in the game.
Yeah, but
right
I
now.
Can't.
Like,
but I can't be Football Manager and having to do my press conferences. I can't do that.
But this is part of the deal, though, isn't it? Like, what is the game supposed to be? Like, what do we want it to be? Like, imagine you're brand new, right? You're coming in,
simulation, isn't it? So you should be able to simulate everything.
Well, I think that's well. I'm not
what do you think's in the game that a manager
simulation
doesn't do?
Is correct. Sorry,
what do you think's in the game that a manager doesn't do?
Oh, like all the data stuff.
Asking for a bloody asking for a flipping new stadium. Flipping, you're having a laugh, you cheeky bugger coming into
manager wouldn't do that.
Stadium,
Would a man? And again, look, I mean, there'll be people screaming in the comments. There's always one example of one manager who absolutely does organise all the friendlies and the training camps for their team, and then we go, oh no, I've absolutely heard of a manager doing this, and like I just don't think.
Yeah, that's the thing. You heard of a manager. It depends on what clubs are.
But he's not managing the camp. He's just saying where he'd like to go. He's not booking the Ryanair
But if you think about it,
flights.
if you were to talk about more realistic, then these days are you? Arteta's not going to have a say because we have to go to whatever flight, Emirates and commercial, whatever that agreement is.
You only get 3 options or whatever anyway, and it's like, hey, you go and
they probably don't even get the option. As Aaron says they're picked up and moved whether they want to go there or not. Like,
and again,
all your
that's another must
agreements
respond. And that's also another must respond.
But what if they say, where would you like to go? And then they just ignore you.
That would be class. Then throw something like that into the game.
Hey, we think it does it with affiliates, right? It's like,
let's go Marbella, lads.
These are who we think should be affiliate. These are who we think should be the affiliates. Which one do you recommend? And you go, hey, I want this as my affiliate. And they go, we went with this one anyway.
Even that, that's not a manager's thing. You can't just be requesting affiliates.
But you can make suggestions. If you're the manager of the club, you can definitely make suggestions. He just says, I think we should get an affiliate to get loans. A manager would do that. I would, in a normal job, you'd be like, you might make suggestions.
I don't think you can. I don't.
It's not your role or responsibility, but you might make a suggestion.
Yeah, but you can make a suggestion about anything, can't it? Like, managers make weird suggestions about their stadiums and stuff. Like, they want something done in a certain way. Like, the managers will always have their certain thing, but. Like, I do agree, though. There is a lot of things in the game that I don't think necessarily a manager would.
I'm just trying to think. If I was to join the game
asking
right now...
Asking an agent, I don't necessarily think a manager would be doing all of that, asking agents and all that sort of...
Is request a stadium still there?
Yeah.
Potentially,
and expand as well. Both request and expand.
Are they?
Yeah.
I think the board just does it now.
I mean, the board will just do it.
Because I'm playing into the Southampton Community Stadium at the minute as Portsmouth, and it's sickening.
Wow.
I just think that if I was to start playing Football Manager now with no experience, would I enjoy it? And
which version are you playing?
Well, look, let's say FM24.
Oh, so right? Sorry, yeah. So I've got 3 requests actually when it comes to stadiums. Build a new stadium, buy the stadium, and expand the stadium. That's a bit.
Instead of leasing it. Okay.
That's what I mean. But that's again, talk about the business side, isn't it?
Would you play mobile? Would you play console? Or would you dip your feet straight into the PC?
I mean, I'd probably put my feet straight in the PC primarily because of the fact that I don't really play mobile games, right? I don't play mobile games. I probably wouldn't play the console version because, again, I would presume that the game was going to be like, I don't know, how do I word this? I guess I'm trying to create a brand new personality for myself with no prior knowledge of it. Would I do it on a console? I could see it work on a console. I could see it being accessible. I could see it being, if it's on a console, it's got to be quick, right? It's got to be quick, and I've got to move through it fairly at a decent pace. I think that on the PC, if I was to join right now as a brand new player, I mean, we've been running the network save for 3 weeks now? 3 weeks? And we've just got to the start of the season. We'll talk a little bit about where we are with network save at the minute, but it's taken us 3 weeks. And I know there's 3 of us playing together, right?
And one of them's Aaron.
3.5 hours, 4 hours worth of game time. And we've gone through it quick to get through pre-season. That feels like a long time before anything actually happens. Whereas with FIFA, if we use that as a comparison, with FIFA, you pick the game up and you're playing a game straight away.
Yeah, because it plays one while it's installing.
Well, okay, fine. Then let's have a cutscene then of you sat signing a contract. Just check which pen you want to use, or can you shout an instruction, or can you draw what a 4-3-3 looks like?
Match is the most important part of the game and the most fun part of the game. In FIFA, it is. In Football Manager, I'm not sure it is.
I get what you're saying with that. And you're right. Maybe you'd have more stuff to do during the week, but what is there? What, like at the minute in Football Manager? But not every manager's doing that anymore now, though, and more managers aren't doing that.
Yeah, but that's the fun part of the game.
Going forward,
I will have the question. Is that what a new person is thinking? Though, are they picking up Football Manager thinking, I get to buy players, or are they thinking, I want to manage I want to see what the game looks like when I'm managing my team? I don't think they'll be thinking, oh, I get to scout and buy the next Ronaldo.
I think there's a mixture of that. I think you're right. I think they want to see what the match looks like because they want to see what it looks like in game and they can see how it works because that's, again, it's a visual medium. It's a video game. So people want to see how it looks. And I am slowly coming around to that argument, okay, that yes, it now needs to look more modern and better. Okay, I'm slowly coming around to that. But I also think that you're right. People do want to buy the players and that's the bit that they love.
I think that's when you're hooked.
But I don't think
once the game's got you hooked, I think that's when you start falling in love with buying players. I don't think you play. I don't know. For me, I remember my introduction was watching the dots. Like, no, it wasn't even the dots. It was just the match and just the flashing, the blink, and then a name coming up. Like, I love that feeling of in the game, and it's just waiting for a scorer to happen and that sort of thing. And then the dots came, and that was like, that's what really got me hooked. So I wouldn't even. The dots was something, that hit me like crack. That was dangerous.
Like we've spoken about this before. Like a lot of what real foot managers do is about managing personal relationships. I don't want to spend my game asking Miles Lewis Skelly what he ate for tea, do I? Like, hey, how's your girlfriend?
But that's what a manager would do.
Were you plastering your wall at the weekend? You know.
But that's what
Arteta's probably doing.
But yeah, a manager's doing that. They're not going through, XG tables and passes per 90 minutes.
But they're doing both, I imagine.
No, they're not. No, someone else is doing all that. I would imagine
they have a team. They'll be aware, but I would imagine they have a team to actually look at.
Yeah, I've got loads of stuff, right? You put the skin
on the manager, innit? Or the manager's interest,
You put the match on, and then there's loads of information on that iPad that flashes up on your screen. Do I know what any of it means? No. Have I still played the game since the day it was released? Yes. Am I still winning matches? Yes. So why is it there? Like I can do it. I can do everything I need to do without understanding any of that.
Okay.
And if I can win without having to really get into the minutiae of a game, then something needs to be done.
Then why does it need to be simplified if you can do it without worrying about it?
That's 30 years worth of autopilot now. Potentially.
Yeah. I do think
like I said, I had that break in it and then coming back to it, it just feels like it's just, I wouldn't say relearning the game and that sort of thing, but it was just, oh, you have to do this. Oh, you have to do that.
You're going to have to learn the new one.
Yeah. I just didn't feel, I don't know, maybe me was just a little personal annoyance. I just didn't feel the game was going as quick as I felt it should be. Like if I open up FM22 and I was just wanted to get to the first game, I'll be able to do that quickly. I think everything just felt a bit, it's just slower in FM24. But that's just after my break. I don't know, I had this expectation that I would be able to just pick PSG, just set this 4-3-3 out because everyone's asking for it and just smash continue and just get to the games. And it just, when I do this, people just go on holiday to the first game of the season because that's why people do that, because you just skip all that nonsense that's in prepping for the season. But I guess though, like when you're in your game and you're actually in that mode, I guess that just comes, that sort of adds to the game, I guess. I don't know.
I got to make my transfers. I'm not working with the team that whatever bozo was here before left me.
And I get it, and I'm aware, that it's a huge part of the game. I think that when people say they want the game to be realistic, I don't think people fully think through what the term realistic means.
I don't think people know what realistic means looking at these match engines and things. I saw a video of one of them. The ball was pinging around like a pinball. And I was like, what's going on? And like the passing, like it's like dead accurate passing, like every player plays for Barcelona. I was like, and they're going, it's cutting out the mistakes and stuff. Football has mistakes. I don't know if you've ever watched a football match. Football has mistakes. Nothing is perfect.
So if I was to say I want FM to have more realism, I'm more meaning I want the AI to be more intelligent. I want them.
Yes.
I don't want Pep Guardiola to be signing these nonsense players that are just not suited for his type of football and that sort of thing. And PSG to be buying 5 wonder kids just to put them in PSG 2. What's the... I just don't...
I think stupid things happen. Like, have you ever seen that Twitter account?
There's a difference between stupid things happening and stupid things being the norm. Like, I shouldn't be able to. You dominate the Eredivisie because Ajax and PSV don't they don't better their team. This is what I mean. Like, they're not moving.
Was it you that said last week, Aaron? And if it wasn't, it was someone else that said it. That you don't feel like on Football Manager you have to. The AI is not trying to beat you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just like all you have to do is understand how to beat the AI.
But I agree with that.
Like, all you have to do is work out how to beat the AI. There is no chance. There's no part of this game where they are trying to beat you. Like, they are going to try and beat you. It's just like, as long as you can beat the AI, you win. Like,
and what I mean is, like, it's very rare, right? Like, but what I mean by this, like, a Jurgen Klopp shouldn't then by signing a player with 9 work rate, 10 aggression, 10 bravery, and that starts to become their squad just because he's high potential in the game. The game's working off a number. Like, these teams are signing players because of a number. They're not necessarily looking at that player, be like, he's a technical player, so that will suit that sort of style of football. Blah blah blah. They're just working off a number. So when it comes to buying youngsters, they don't then play that youngster because his number's too low. His current ability is too low. So he can have a 200 potential. That team will never ever develop him because they're going to stick with Kevin De Bruyne till he's 36 because his current ability is still better than that young player's.
Yeah, okay. I think that's like, team selection. Maybe they are relying too much on the older players. But
there's also the deciding to make that team better. You're telling me that they can't find someone that's better than a 36 Kevin De Bruyne? Of course they can. They should be able.
They definitely do make those signings.
I guarantee I can open up my save right now with Manchester City loaded up, and they've still got all their old players still. They don't move them on.
Our network save, Cristiano Ronaldo Jr., who I think is like 14 and with a high potential, he'll be at one of the big 5 clubs within one season.
Yeah, but I don't know. That don't mean that.
Yeah, because and then what happens from there? On the potential. They'll play him. It'll be Ballon d'Or.
There's no way. There's no way. That Cristiano Ronaldo goes to Arsenal at the age of 70, not being good enough, and then Arsenal playing him. That just will not happen in the game. That never happens in the game, Simon. He has to be good enough to play for that team. You know it as well. They will never ever play a young player.
Yeah, but
they have to be currently good enough to play.
What do you think they would play them in real life?
Of course. That's how Arsenal get Saka. That's how Arsenal get Ethan Neri. That's how Arsenal's get Miles Skelly. That's how Manchester City got. That's how Manchester City got Rico. What do you mean? There's just so many players.
Saka came in because of injuries at left, but it was a Kieran Tierney or someone.
Well, what about Nicholas Anelka? I know we're going way back, but Nicholas Anelka.
You're picking one player though. I can name you nearly half the squad though. Like, nearly half the squad came through as a young player and then played as now they become good enough.
You think Arsenal wouldn't do that in game?
No.
I think this is an interesting experiment to try.
You don't need to experiment. Everyone builds a super team in Football Manager, and no AI team can keep up with that. It just happens.
I'm curious because there are teams which have like signed under 20. I'm curious what like a Brighton or someone does, because Brighton stays pretty strong. So I'll open up
I'll see if I can open up. So you lot can carry on, and I'll find an old save. It just happens in the game. It's just
I've got one at the minute where I've got my Sutton United one I can open up as well. But I'm pretty sure that they definitely like start to use these players.
They just won't.
I don't know.
I think it just tends to be when they retire or their final contract
and then they'll
expires.
Just buy another player.
Like they're not doing like what say like a Ferguson would do and get rid of a player.
And Ajax is certainly not doing what an Ajax would do.
At the actual point when they start to dip, they're holding on to them right to the very, very end. You know, they're not selling a player at 30, 32. As Aaron says, they're waiting until their 36 contract expires and they're being released on a free.
So should Ajax be developing younger players to...
And I've used Ajax before, haven't I? When I said my Sparta Rotterdam save just got boring within 3 seasons because I was able to dominate because Ajax was just... Their B team, honestly, had 100 and something players in the team. Their first team had 20-something or 30-something. But look, I've opened up and I've opened Manchester City. Look, literally 2030, their key player is Bernardo Silva. He's 35 years of age. God damn it. And look at their bench. Ruben Diaz, Rodri, Garvio, Douglas Luiz. Like, he was never good enough. He's played 2 games this season. I am now in January. They signed him last season. Last season, he played 10 games. Guess how many games he started? 0. That constantly happens in Football Manager.
All right,
and Douglas Luiz was never ever going to be good enough to be good enough at 30 years of age. I don't know why they even do this in the game. It just happens. Mateus Nunes is still starting for Manchester City at the age of 31.
Do you know what's funny about Douglas Luiz? I've just loaded up my Sutton save. I haven't played it for like 2 months. Guess who's in my team?
Douglas
Luiz. He genuinely is. He genuinely is. He's not bad either.
If I go to Arsenal, same. Gabriel's still there. Zinchenko is still there.
Yeah, Douglas Luiz is fine. I don't know what you're saying.
I mean, Arsenal's team's kind of changed a little bit.
Right, let me have a look. So, well, I want to see. I'm pretty sure I had Ronaldo Jr. He's at Liverpool. When did he join Liverpool? Oh, he starts at Al Nassr though, but they're playing him they're playing him the first season at Al Nassr. Surely he wouldn't have been good enough the first season.
Well, he's going to be better than everyone else in the team at Al Nassr, isn't he? But is he going to be better than? Is he? When does he start playing? In the top
he's like 14 in the game then. Al Nassr's not that bad. I'm trying to think like who would you expect?
Is that reputation as well though? Is that their reputation?
I'm gonna have a look at Arsenal for you, see who Arsenal are playing.
And I guarantee you, none of these teams, like I'm in 2030, there should be a new sort of Messi, a new Vinicius Junior somewhere, but they're never going to get into these teams. There's no region in these teams.
I'm looking at Arsenal in my save. I think they're playing players that maybe would like. I've got attribute masking on, a bit annoying, but I'll see if I can show you.
My Real
I'll describe it for the
my Real Madrid team
listeners.
In the.
So they're starting this guy. Unfortunately, I've got attribute masking on. He might be quite quick, but he hasn't got like really high attributes so much.
Started 5 games.
Started 9 games. Started 9.
I'm talking about Premier League games, man. You can't be starting Carling Cup games.
Yeah, so it's 2031, and they've still got Declan Rice, they've still got Odegaard, they've still got.
But Declan Rice is only 31. He's not that old. Like Declan Rice is 31. Odegaard's 32. They're playing
the B team as well, so you're looking at their B team. You must be.
This is the A team.
Odegaard's 32.
No, because I'm seeing their bet. I'm seeing is that Saka on a. Oh, he's injured.
Where are you seeing this? So this is their A team.
Because Florian Wirtz, that's not, man. Because I can see Florian Wirtz. Oh yeah, some of the players are some on. But you can see some of the key players at the bottom. Look, Kai Havertz.
Florian down here. They've been playing. Like Wirtz has been playing, but they've been rotating. Look, nearly
Zinchenko's still there.
Look how many
David
players
Raya still there.
And look how many players. Look how many players are on 0 and 2 and 3.
Yeah, but that's like Tadibo, Dwight McNeil. I don't know why they buy Dwight McNeil.
You don't know
Lokonga.
And check how many games Lokonga's played, and he's just still there. He's not even as in that in the history.
He's playing in and out. Actually, 31. Do you know what? He gets a little run of games. 34 games, 25, 26, 31 games, 26, 27, 31 games. Yeah, look, he gets.
No, but we're looking at the starting games because, like I said, the guy played 10 games, and started 0.
Okay, he's starting this season 24, 25. He started 27 and subbed in 8.
Yeah,
it does go down, but like 19. He's playing quite a bit. I don't know if it's quite as. Let's check this guy. So this guy's 22 now. They loaned him to Hull, so that doesn't really help. And then they're playing.
That probably did help. Look. So he's actually a good example, of what the game should be doing. There. So if you go back to him, he's a good example, right? So look, he played at Arsenal. It wasn't really getting games. I don't know why I'm saying his name. He clearly went to Hull City to play games, boosted his current ability. Now he's almost good enough, and you can see that he's getting game time at Arsenal. That is what the game should be doing more often.
But Aaron's point as well, Si, is the fact that looking at even in 2031, going through the Arsenal players that are still at the team, they're still at the club, all in their late 30s or in their 30s now, haven't been moved on. Marino's 34. Look, I can see Tomiyasu's in there. He's 32. Zinchenko's 34. David Raya's 34. They've not been moved on. A lot there. 35. They would have been gone in real life. Do you know? Havertz is 30. How is Havertz still only 31? Is he not 30?
Joe Gomez is there.
Yeah, but look, actually looking at the Liverpool team, only 1, 2, 3, 4, only 7 of them are over 30. And
yeah, because the two players that should retire now.
That's what I'm saying. They'll be retired, isn't it? Because Van Dijk,
Salah and Van Dijk are due to retire in a year or two. Like Alisson's due to retire. Yeah.
But Liverpool are playing like all these regens. Or these,
yeah, they've still got Joe Gomez. They've still got Trent Alexander-Arnold there, Liverpool fans. Canate is there. Szoboszlai's there. So again, they've not moved any of these. Nunes is still there. McAllister's still there, is it?
Yeah.
Gravenberch. It's like, the team hasn't moved on. It won't still be that team.
And let's be honest, if you go through that first 11, that Liverpool team, or at least a team in that league, should be like looking like a Liverpool now, or Liverpool a couple years ago, where players are like in their prime. There's just elite players in their prime. Like you just won't get that because it's still, again, they're still playing players that are still.
What does the Man City side look like in your save side?
Man City.
I don't think Liverpool's actually that bad. That's actually a decent age, isn't it? Those players.
Yeah, a lot of those are quite young. Man City. Let's have a look at Man City. There's not many over 30 there.
And Guardiola's still there as well, of course.
They've only got 4 players over. They've only got 1 player over 30. They got 3 at 30. 1 over 30 is Ruben Diaz.
Ruben Diaz.
Everyone else. But again,
there'll
be
another team, obviously, because those other players would have been retired. Like Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva,
have a look at the transfer out then.
All these guys have been finished.
Transfer history. So you want to see sort of when did they retire or did they leave? Well, we can check retires, can't we? Release players. Yeah, Bernardo Silva
free transfer, retired at 35.
Does it say if he went to a different club? I'm trying to see.
No.
Can't see it on there.
Yeah.
He went to Al Ahly at the end.
Yeah,
he went to Al Ahly.
Oh,
so he did go somewhere else.
I
mean, these ones are quite young as well.
Last season.
Joel Ndala's not that old. He's gone.
But this, I'm saying, that proves our point. Like, they kept these guys until their contracts are. Look, Vitor Reese is another one that was there.
But they're selling a lot. I mean, look at all these.
Oh, they're just 21 million.
Yeah, I know.
That's coming from
Savinho
loans.
leaving on a free. I mean, a lot of people leave, don't they? Ake left.
They're making some money there, 160.
They're always spending more than they're making, though. But
and look, they're just buying like the first season is probably where they bought most players, and that was like how many? 5.
But these are the one.
That's
they are. Whoa, look at that. 287 million on Vinny Jr. in the first season. Have they still got him even?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have. He's probably not even that old, is he? 30.
I think like something like that can happen where he just goes to Man City, like he's at Real Madrid for a long time, he goes to Manchester City, he's there for a long time, but I just feel that happens too often rather than there's not enough variables in this movement.
Players should be moved. Well, I'm sort of looking like Benjamin Henriks came and left. Jean Mario came and left. See, Ricardo Horta came and left. Like they're only there for 2 to 3 seasons. I don't know who Finley Gorman is.
Still there.
He is still there. Of all the ones still there, he's the one.
No transfers, then 3.
Jeremy Pino, still there.
there.
Yeah. Lodice, gone to Saudi Arabia. He went to Luton. They bought him for 20 million and sold him for 2 mil to Luton. And then Luton sold him for 20 million, which is crazy.
I mean, a transfer gone bad, isn't it? But that sort of stuff just needs to, I think, just.
But that happens. That's what
I'm saying. That transfer gone bad,
Salah,
that happens, yeah.
What did Mo Salah do? Mo Salah went to Chelsea. How much did Chelsea play for Mo Salah? Sold him off to Roma or Fiorentina or Roma? Fiorentina,
yeah.
And then, or Kevin De Bruyne, Chelsea selling off Kevin De Bruyne to Wolfsburg. Man City picking them up as bargains.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So we're undecided then, basically, is what we're trying to say.
That would be my version of realism. Just the more intelligence with the. But that could be with tactics as well, right? It's not even necessarily just transfers. It can also be with tactics as well. I mean, they did say there was more intelligence this year. I wouldn't necessarily. I know it was a slight difference, like with teams now playing obviously positional based football and that sort of stuff. But I didn't notice a crazy difference in intelligence and how I have to think. I still felt I could just put my tactic in there and just play with it for the 90 minutes rather than, that manager's just done something crazy.
I didn't notice the, and just with us talking about transfers there, I didn't notice the dynamic transfer recruitment styles of the AI where if they did, for example, sell a midfielder, they would then start looking specifically for midfielders. I've never noticed any of that. Like, I know that's what they were trying to sort of advertise when they were saying about this new sort of like transfer model or something when they first mentioned it when it came out. I've not noticed anything of that like really coming out.
Even that, is that something that we would, that again, so sorry, but this is what I mean, like their things has to have a bigger effect in the game because even if that did happen, would we notice? If Manchester City sold Kevin De Bruyne and now like they're scrambling for midfielder, how is me at Arsenal going to know that by pressing continue?
Yeah, you never seem to have that knock on either. Like, so for example, at the minute, sorry, Aaron, like, so at the minute, again, a real life example, I suppose, Liverpool just lost Trent Alexander-Arnold. So therefore, any club who now owns a right back or whatever position Trent Alexander-Arnold plays, those players now go up in value because they know that Liverpool need to get a right back. So that would be the way that in real life, the transfer market is dynamic, you know, like that sort of like that domino effect. You know, you sell a player, therefore all the clubs around you now know that you need that specific a player to fill that position. So they become more difficult to get a hold of. I don't think that seems to be reflective in the game.
I was going to say that would be one way to make that sort of thing more effective, right? The dynamic. As in, if I know Liverpool need a right back and they're coming for me for a right back, that should give me more room to negotiate for a higher price and that sort of thing. That's how.
I don't know if Liverpool are going for a right back.
Well, they're just going for Frimpong, who's got a flipping.
It's an example. It's an example.
Okay. Yeah, they're going with someone that's got a release clause in it because they know now they're going to have to pay over the odds for someone. They just get someone on a release clause.
I thought there was only one Conor Bradley. That was the
trend thing's a bit funny, isn't it? Yes, we are talking about real life football. The trend thing's funny because I remember for like a whole 2 seasons now, I don't want to say all Liverpool fans, I hate that when people just say like Liverpool fans and that just they group all of them. But there was a large portion of Liverpool fans who weren't fans of Trent's performances. And now that he's going, it's just like, no, wait, whoa, you can't do that, you rat. I know people are talking about the way he's leaving. I just think it's easier standing where I am because I'm not a Liverpool fan, but I think sometimes you also got to look at the club, these fans as well. They're all blaming one person as if he's the reason why everything has played out like this, but I don't think that's the case. Because if we're to believe what people are supposed to believe, and that Liverpool offered him a contract with 12 months left, we know, even in Football Manager, that's risky, right? Because if he's not accepting that contract, he's now going to leave. So I think that deal, especially for someone like Trent, you don't leave 12 months to your offer. There's a 24-month sort of thing, right? And again, these are the sort of things I don't think every Liverpool fan wants to be open-minded to. They just want, I think some people just want a reason to have a go at someone, rather than, okay, there's an actual perfectly good reason to have a go at this person. And it's funny because I said, like, you shouldn't boo. And then straight away, Liverpool fans are like, well, you boo Shaq. And I was like, no, I told Arsenal fans that was wrong too. Like, you don't boo players. Like, it's not right. But, yeah.
I didn't even like when Arsenal fans booed Wenger.
That broke my heart. That broke my heart. At the same time, I'm like, Wenger, please just leave because the way this is going, I don't like it, man. Please.
Was it even going that bad? I mean, you would just get fourth every year.
Well, that's the thing, right? It wasn't going that bad. That last year's the only time we got fifth, and that was like, oh, I can't believe this just happened, right? And then that sort of became our thing. Like, oh, top four is actually quite difficult, and we got banter for that because Wenger used to say top four is like. He didn't say it is winning the trophy. He said top four is like winning the trophy. And what he's obviously meaning is the money that you get into the Champions League and that sort of thing. And now what happens like 3-4 years later, everyone's fighting for the top four. The top four is so important now. And that's people's targets for the season. I wish I was in school still, man, because I would be like...
It would be fun, actually. I've got a suggestion. I've got a Wenger-like suggestion. You know, Wenger chucks out these wild suggestions. Much like last week.
Don't tell me when the kicking throwing
his Europa League, whatever his weird suggestions. Well, last week it was that the Europa League winner shouldn't get Champions League. Well, I've got my own, right?
I take that back as well. I think I was just rooting for Wenger that day.
You might like this one. And it is to do with teams that would normally fight for the top four. normally fight for the top 4. So I was thinking, and Tony's been at the playoffs this week, and I was like, I don't want to get rid of the playoffs, but it does feel kind of harsh on 3rd place in the championship that someone in 7th gets to go up, right? Potentially.
What game was I watching? Was that Stockport and Charlton? Or Leighton Orient story?
So I thought maybe what they could do, the top three in the championship go up, bottom 3 in the Premier League go down as normal, right? But then you go 4, 5, 6, 7 into a playoff.
I had to count
it. Right. Do you mean a relegation playoff? Is this how we're going to simplify this?
They'll go into promotion playoffs, yeah.
A relegation playoff in the Premier League to add some, because at the minute, like Spurs and Man United are like they're safe. But I was thinking about how like they're like 17th and 16th or whatever they are, 15th and 16th, 15th and 17th. Like I think West Ham might be in between them or Everton, but they're like right down the bottom of the table. And it's like there's nothing like the 3 teams at the bottom of the table are so bad, especially Southampton, so bad.
Yeah. We left the Premier League. You're not happy now, jeez.
Yeah. So like the people say like it's just be the same 3 going up, the same 3 going down. Well, let that happen then. Let the same 3 go up and the same 3 go down, and then and then we can see whether there actually is a difference between the Premier League and the Championship, because you have the 4 teams doing a playoff, and you have the 4 above the relegation zone playing in like a mini tournament, and then they play each other, the winners of each of them or the loser for the Premier League, right? I don't know how you'd find a loser from a knockout tournament. There would be a way. You could do it. You could do like a mini league or whatever you could do. Or you could just be the bottom, the like 16th and 17th, right? They play a match against each other, because they do this in some countries, right? Like, in order to get promoted, you play against a team coming down.
Yeah, I think what you can do is you can make it more simple. So the top 3 from the Championship go up, the bottom 3 from the Premiership go down.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Fourth top in the Championship plays 4th bottom in the Premier League to decide who goes up or down. So there's 4 teams go up and down. What I think is a more interesting way of doing this, top team goes in the Champions League. Okay. But
in the Champions League?
No, top team in the Premier League goes in the Champions League.
Yeah? Oh, right, okay, yeah.
2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th have a playoff to work out who goes where, right? And that makes it more interesting. You get rid of the top 4. You get rid of all this 19 teams in the Champions League.
We're coming on MLS shirts for a reason today.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
I would say, I think I was.
So then finishing top 4 doesn't necessarily get you in the Champions League. You could finish 7th and get in the Champions League. You could finish 2nd and get in the Europa Conference League. Spreads the money a little bit more around the Premier League, because let's face it, all Premier League teams could do with a little bit more money, clearly.
Because you know what's bothered me? You know what's bothered me, lads, in this last couple of weeks, right? With these,
do you feel like we're ganging up on you about?
These dodgy Tottenham teams and these United teams, how they're just able to, we're not going to get relegated.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, right?
Like, I don't like that, because there are teams that are still playing for something. So if I'm like, I don't want to look at the fixture list and be like, I'm playing Man United. Well, I do want to look at the fixture list and be like, I'm playing Man United. They've got nothing to play for. So this is a good chance for us, sort of thing. Like, I think by the time we got to like a few games at the end of the season, teams should stop playing for. I mean, you don't want to really say that, innit? I don't know if players actually down tooled or if teams down tooled, but you feel like there's less to play for, right? Like United and Tottenham were dropping their star players, because now they've got a big European game and the midweek European games as well, which I don't think is necessarily fair on the Premier League competition and the teams that are still fighting to play for something, whereas their rivals are playing against Tottenham, who aren't playing for anything.
Right now, like Sunderland's about to play Sheffield United. Will it have already happened by the time this goes out? Right?
It will.
No,
it comes out. It comes out next week. We play next Saturday. So
okay, right. So,
you're already getting nervous.
Yeah. So Sheffield United v Sunderland. Now imagine Sheffield United already went up, because they finished 3rd, didn't they? Actually, they were quite a lot of points ahead. I think.
Not
that
many
they were in the race.
There were enough points ahead to justify going straight up. Right.
Sunderland instead are playing either Spurs or Man United, whoever loses out of a match between the two of them.
Ooh,
at Wembley.
How cool would that be, though? That would be a right day out.
The Sunderland fans would get right up for it. The Man United or Spurs fans would be like, or, let's imagine it was a regular season and it's Everton who are just squeaking out of it again. You're Sunderland fans going up there, like the clash of that kind of match, the momentum of that kind of match. I think it would add something, right? And I think it would add something to that bottom half of the Premier League when we're saying.
I'm with your original idea, man. Like the top three go down, the top three go down, bottom three go down, the top three go up, and then it's the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th versus the whatever the four, the equivalent, and then that's just
you could find a way.
Yeah, that's just their playoff.
How's
thing,
about we split the leagues in
playoffs.
half, right? The bottom half of the Premier League take on the top half of the Championship. Winner takes all, right?
Manchester United versus
Sunderland. You imagine though, across 2 games, Sunderland are not likely to do it. They're not likely to do it, but if they did.
I guess, that's the thing then. It's not supposed to happen, is it? It's still there. Yeah. It can happen.
And it's not like Man United will be hard done by. I mean, they finished 17th in the Premier League. Like, we are
definitely losing some fans in this episode. Liverpool fans, United fans.
It's all right. All the Man United fans have gone already. They've already changed to Real Madrid shirts. They've already changed to Barcelona shirts already. So it's okay.
Yeah, I put my Man United shirt on and I'm proud. And I'm
some fans who leave podcasts early to get to beat the traffic. They've already gone, so that's fine.
I did see someone asking on Reddit. They were like, "Is it okay for me to change clubs? I was a Man United fan. I want to be a Real Madrid fan now." And people are like, "No,
it's fine to downgrade. We've discussed this. Remember, you can downgrade. Yeah,
I don't think you can upgrade.
But one thing I think we should mention because
if you go Man United to Real Madrid.
If you go Man United to Basel, then fine.
And I'm not that. I don't want to be that guy, but I think
at the minute, couldn't it?
I'm not that guy. I don't think you should support where you live and that sort of nonsense. But if you were a Man United fan and your life has taken you to Madrid.
Hey, if you lived in Madrid, sure, that's fine. Yeah. But I think if you're a Man United fan, you just don't like the fact that they're not winning at the minute. So you're I'm going to choose a team that's winning.
You could only do that if you're not from Manchester. So say you're a Man United fan, but you're not from Manchester. Then you move to Madrid and you go, you know what, I might as well be a Madrid fan because I've got no affiliation to wherever I'm from anyway. Then you do whatever you want. But
I don't think I went back.
I went back to Sunderland because obviously that's where I'm from.
It's pricey being a football fan these days, isn't it?
Are you a multi-club fan, Aaron?
Oh yeah, big time. I'm bad at it.
Like you have Arsenal.
I'll scout a player that I like, and because I like him so much, I just become a fan. I become a fan of the team.
So what's your Spanish team?
Real Madrid.
Do you have Italian team?
That's because of Michael Owen. Funny enough.
The original rat,
losing more Liverpool fans.
I'm one of those guys. I do have a team in every nation, but my actual teams, like Arsenal, of course, like that's just my team to support. So if that came up in conversation, what teams do you support? It's just Arsenal. There's nothing else that will come up for that. But then I do also follow Cheltenham, and that's that happened more this season. I've been there for almost 10 years now, but it's only like because my boy's now into football, and then taking him, that's just like whole different experience. So
a lower league. Do you know what's weird? I've sort of developed, and it's because my stepdad and because I've been to games with him. So I used to hate Arsenal.
It's when you go to a game, man. Sometimes it just takes you in it. It does.
Well, Portsmouth for Premier League as well. And like,
so with this stadium, right? It's the sound, isn't it? Like with this stadium, I got used to the drums and like you get like it becomes start feeling like home to you.
So I developed a soft spot for them. Like if I saw it, if I wanted any of the English teams to do well in Europe, it would be Arsenal. I also like
Southampton as well, of course.
I like the players. Hey, I'm not going with Southampton.
No, but now that's the thing. Like now, I'm like, if I speak about the job with someone, like it's a we. I don't say Southampton. I say we and that sort of thing. And obviously, you check up. I'm not like that with the other teams in the group. I still obviously follow them and that sort of thing. But with Southampton, I don't know. Like now, obviously, because it's in England as well, so it's just easier to follow that sort of thing. But now I'm involved. I'm like, I've already checked who's earning on. I've typed in Southampton wages and got familiar with the wage bill and that sort of thing. Yeah.
I have Palermo as my Italian team from when I lived there, but like,
see, I'm trying to get Eldest Jameson in to be a York fan because he can go to that game. Do you know what I mean? We live there, like and I don't want him to be a glory hunting Liverpool fan. Like I'm not taking a Sunderland fan.
Oh,
well, I've tried that, and I don't think. I think they're too. I think they're a bit too young to be introduced to a life of sadness. I think I've got to introduce that slowly
instead.
Yeah, true.
My boy's an Arsenal fan. I mean, obviously everyone's...
Oh, boo-hoo-hoo. My Arsenal fan.
No, but it's different. It's different, though. Like, it's a different sort of thing, because now you're saying boo-hoo-hoo. But yeah, it is boo-hoo-hoo when we're talking with another elite club. So now our rivals are Liverpool, Manchester City, teams that are winning things, and we ain't won nothing in a long time. So it's sort of boo-hoo-hoo. I'm telling my boy how good we are. He's just looking at the table like, so why are we second? And the next season, so why are we second? And the next season, why are we second? He thinks Liverpool's the best team.
Why are we bottom of League 2 going into administration?
Yeah, but for Tino, that's just football. Like, he thinks...
Daddy,
why is
there a TV series made about your football team and everyone seems to be crying? Why is that?
We have one as well, innit? And they took the piss out of us because we wanted to play Never Walk Alone and training.
I think we've gone into the weeds.
Are you guys on board with my relegation promotion?
No, I'm on board with it. I'm on board with it. I'm on board.
Let's go.
100%. Right.
I don't know why I'm touching an MLS team. The MLS needs to get on board with promotion and relegation.
The Champions League one. I think we agreed that last week that cup winners should go in the Champions League. Excellent.
Place,
this week we're agreeing that all the playoffs should be done the way we've just said there. Okay.
Imagine Man United in the Champions League and in the Championship.
UEFA just decide. How about they just like, you know what? There's absolutely no way United or Spurs can go into the Champions League under any circumstances because they finished.
Too bad. Too bad.
They did, yeah.
I've already said right that obviously, and we will end this episode. Like I've already said, you know, we've got to the final. Sunderland got to the final of the playoffs, and I'm sitting there going, for me, like I would like to be in a situation where we win at Wembley, but then morally decide we don't want to be in the Premier League, because that would be great for me, because we win at Wembley, that would be lovely, but then we don't have to be in the Premier League.
Before we go, actually, I did see something that made me think of you lot. So if Chelsea win the Conference League, they have the choice whether to play in the Champions League or the Europa League. Now, I did see under the comments, that's just a lie, so it could possibly be a lie. But at the same time, what does happen? Because
they
if
choose
they finish
Champions League.
No, but what do you choose? What happens? Because surely your spot has to go somewhere. And
hang on, is what happens is eventually us three end up playing in the Champions League, because literally everybody in England is given a Champions League spot.
You missed your chance, Tony. You were supposed to be playing Dads v Dads tonight, and you missed your game, and now you're never going to get selected.
I know. Never mind. Oh well, right. But if you want to see us do some actual Football Manager, you can do it via Patreon, where we have the network save. He wants to plug the network save because there's a few things.
Yeah, we just played the cup final, didn't we, Tony? Europe Super Cup final.
Let's not mention that.
We're talking about he managed to skip for a whole conversation on
He was waiting for that. He didn't even let me say something. He just came in. Yeah.
How was the European Super Cup final?
So what's interesting is during this episode, the recording software that we use has kicked me out and claimed that my internet isn't working. It's working absolutely fine. The network save may have kicked me out of the game whilst the game was being played.
I forgot about that. I genuinely
and I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you.
You were losing 2-1, weren't you?
No, I think it was 1-1 at the time. I think it was
1-1. They scored. Actually, you got kicked out the moment they scored their second.
Yes,
it was incredibly sus.
So I'm not gonna say what's happened. I'm gonna let you. If you want to see it, if you want to see it, you have to come and watch it on the network save on Patreon. But what I will say is that it was controversial, I think, is a fair description. And I now have an enemy in Real Madrid. May have just given away what happened.
Are they your rivals now too, as well as Liverpool's?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'm not letting any Atalanta players join Real Madrid.
and for some context, some game context, Tony did go to the game with a three at the back, cautious mentality as well against Madrid, and me and Sam was just like, we're preparing for the high scores. And yeah, I'm quite surprised of the low scoring game, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's only because the assistant manager changed the tactic after he got kicked out.
yeah, he changed it to a 4-2-3-1, didn't he? But yes, that's still happening. So we're going to go and do some more of that now. If you do want to come watch it, then of course do sign up via Patreon, patreon.com/the FM Show Pod, where you can support the podcast from as little as £3 a month. You get to see the network save, you get early access to all the public episodes, secret Discord channels, and you get to basically, make this happen. And we'll say thank you to you on public episodes. We're going to start saying thanks to our Patreons publicly for your support. Fellas, it's been a long one. It's been an interesting one. We bounced around a few topics, and I think we've managed to upset pretty much everybody tonight. So I'm going to say we've done a good job. Let us know in the comments below at which point we offended you. Thank you very much, as always, everyone.
Don't do that.
It's engagement side.
We had enough of that for the last 6 months.
As always, everyone, take care of yourselves, and we will speak to you all very, very soon. All the best. Bye now.
Toodles.